Joining us now is the mayor of Bound Brook, New Jersey, Robert Faison, and Michael Mann, director of the Earth System Science Center at Penn State University. He's also the author of The New Climate War. Mayor Faison, first to you. We showed live aerials of the horrific flooding in Bound Brook just last week. A transit train we saw inundated with brown, murky floodwaters. We showed images of a minor league baseball field completely underwater as well. How much damage was done in your community, and what do you hope comes out of the president's trip today?
Well, Anna, Bound Brook was not hit that hard. The river flow that you saw near the train was really the only area where the flood hurt us here in Bound Brook. Very quickly, 22 years ago, Hurricane Floyd did 18 feet of water on our main street. This did not. This had zero flooding on our main street, primarily because of the work that was done by the Corps of Engineers building levees around the borough of Bound Brook. They completed that project in 2015.
Thank goodness that that project had been done and completed. But when you listen to the president today, Mayor, and he speaks of climate change and the need to go above and beyond, did that resonate with you?
Yes, very much so. I feel that, I won't say Bound Brook is the poster child, but the flood proofing that we really encouraged over the past 15 years is now complete. The little things we do here in Bound Brook, as far as making sure we have this motto where we want to be carbon neutral by planting more trees and being green. We do as much as we can at the local level, but I'm sure that not only the United States, but the rest of the world is responsible for fixing this problem.
Michael, we heard the mayor talk about Hurricane Floyd. Other officials in New Jersey have also compared, this storm with Ida to Hurricane Floyd in 1999. But are we in a much worse situation when it comes to the climate and these storms now than, 20 plus years ago?
Yeah, hi, Anna. Absolutely. We are seeing the impacts of climate change now playing out in real time in the form of these these monster storms. And we know that for each degree Celsius of warming of the ocean surface, you get 7% more moisture in the air, so the potential for much greater amounts of rainfall. But you get as much as a 20% increase in wind speeds and a 60% increase in intensity. And so there's no coincidence here that the most intense and destructive hurricanes on record in the Northern Hemisphere, in the Southern Hemisphere, in the Atlantic, in the Pacific, for the globe, have all happened within the last decade because of record warm ocean temperatures, record amounts of heat that fuel these increasingly strong and destructive storms.
If changes aren't made, Michael, what are we looking at? How much stronger, how much worse, how much more frequent will these monster storms get?
Yeah, well, you can extrapolate that rule I gave you for each degree Celsius, an increase of 60% of, in the intensity of these storms. So if we warm the planet beyond 2.5 degrees, 3 degrees Celsius, we're starting to now talk about storms that are qualitatively different from anything we've seen before, where we will have to introduce a Category 6 to describe the destructive potential of these storms. That's the bad news. The good news is that we can prevent the planet from warming up. If we reduce our carbon emissions by 50% within the next decade, which this administration has committed to doing, and other countries are now starting to come up with similar commitments. If we can do that and reach carbon neutrality, no carbon emissions by 2050, we can keep the planet below 1.5 degrees Celsius, 3 degrees Fahrenheit, where we really start to see the worst consequences.
Mayor, Bound Brook is a flood-prone town, given its proximity there to the Raritan River. The river rose over 40 feet last week, and you say your city was prepared for this. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers had completed the Greenbrook Flood Control Project back in 2016. Still, as we can see here, you had significant flooding. Do you have a plan to take on climate change, not just, flooding events?
Well, the plan is basically the only thing we can do here at local level is, number one, we've installed electric charging stations for the commuters to park at. We're now in the process of purchasing electric vehicles for the municipality, which will reduce the carbon emissions. But I really think most importantly, we really try to plant as many trees and get as much green as we possibly can to eat up some of the carbon emissions. And hopefully, mathematically, we will be carbon neutral.
Michael, what do you think needs to happen in the Northeast when it comes to infrastructure improvements in order to prepare for future storms like this?
Yeah, well, first of all, the mayor to be commended for the actions that he's taking, and and the awareness that he's raising among the folks that he represents. That we do have to respond at a local level, adaptation, increased resilience. The impacts that we're seeing now are baked in. We're not going to be able to get rid of them, so we have to learn to deal with, to be more resilient in the face of these more destructive events. And that means, certainly better infrastructure, levees, and coastal defenses, things that we can do to increase our resilience. But look, if we let the planet warm up beyond 1.5 degrees Celsius, 3 degrees Fahrenheit, we are going to exceed our adaptive capacity as a civilization. So we need to deal with the impacts that are baked in, but we have to prevent it from getting worse. And, planting trees can help at the edges, but there's no question we have to stop burning fossil fuels. There can be no new fossil fuel infrastructure if we are to prevent the planet from warming into what is truly the danger zone.
And Mayor, I know that you look at what you can do on the local level. That's where it starts, some of these changes, even though that there's much more and a broader impact that can be felt if those changes are then, expanded to a larger level, to the federal level and beyond. But appreciate you sharing the proactive measures you're taking in your community. I'm glad to hear that the flooding and the damage wasn't worse there. Thank you, Mayor Michael Faden, Robert Fazen and Michael Mann. Thank you both for being with us.
Thank you, Anna. Appreciate it.